This is On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. A weekly recap of your Philadelphia Flyers from blue line to blue line. Broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's, tonight's show is brought to you by Han & Stone Spa, Pat Dion Beverages, The Capitol Grill, Chickies and Pete's, Payroll Service Solutions, and Independence Blue Cross. We now go live to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Now, here are your hosts, former Flyers goaltending great Bernie Parent and Paul Jolovitz.
All righty, everybody, welcome to the Independence Blue Cross On the Ice. We're here at the beautiful Chickies and Pete's in a raucous, loud, and fun Malvern, Pennsylvania. Love this Chickies, love the atmosphere, a jillion TVs, a jillion people. And we get to talk about the Philadelphia Flyers tonight, who won last night, shut out the Boston Bruins, beat them for the first time in Boston regulation in 13 years. First time they shut them out in 18. We're going to talk about that and all things Flyers with my co-host. You may know him. He played goalie back in the day for a team called the Broad Street Bullies. He's winning 2 Stanley Cup rings, and his name is Bernard Marcel Parent. How are you, Bernie?
Life is great, man.
Life is great. That's very much for sure.
I'm sitting next to one of my best defensemen ever played with.
You're sitting next to one of your best friends, and Joe's here too, right?
Yeah.
Yep, Joe's here as well. Joe's our guest. One of the Broad Street Bullies as well. The brother combination, the Watsons. He's not Jim. He is Joe Watson, 81 years young. Buddy, thank you so much for coming out here tonight.
Yeah, well, it's a pleasure to be here. I didn't know this place existed here.
Well,
I've been to a lot of Chickie and Pete's, but I wasn't aware of this place.
81, he looks like he's 6'1", for God's sake.
He does.
Around the waist. Around the waist.
Pete's doing real well. Pete could put one of these in a sniper area, and he'd do well. Pete has the Midas touch with everything, like Bernie did in the net, and you did defensively. Guys, the Flyers won last night 2-0. Empty net goal by Farabee after Tyson Forster's first of the year. Obviously, it's slow getting off. Lost 6 in a row. Won 2 of their last 3, and Sam Ersson was great last night, Bernie, wasn't he?
Yeah. You know, it's a team effort. And they, you know what? Like, you know, it's good to have Joe here, so could share with people what went on a little bit when we played. And we had great communication. This is where success is, good communication.
But you barely spoke English back then, didn't you?
Well, Joe spoke French.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it was good. but they quickly, if a guy came down, you know, inside the blue line came down, if a right-hand shot, Joe, the understanding we had, Joe would take the man, and the opening for him to shoot would be on the glove side. And the opposite, if it was a left-hand shot, Joe would take the man, and the opening would be on the stick side. Once you understand this with your defensemen, and they know what you're thinking about in goal, it helps to make the saves, you know, make the plays.
What was it like playing with a stone wall in the net?
Well, it was very enjoyable because we got a lot of bonus money. We got 1-goal games, 2-goal games, shutouts. It was a beautiful thing because Fred Sherrill instituted a system that was advantageous for us as a defense and goalies, and so it worked out well for us. And I saw that. I watched the game last night, and Nick Seeler was a big star for the Flyers last night. The blocks he made in that 5-on-3, and he's a tough kid too, you know. And a lot of people are not aware of that because nobody wants to fight the guy.
We had him on here last year. He's a great kid.
You did?
Yep.
You did? Oh,
Great
beautiful.
kid. From Minnesota.
Yep. And you know, he was the difference in the game. And the other night when they played Montreal, there was a guy, this big guy, the tough guy from Montreal. I don't remember his last name. Pretty hard to pronounce his name, but he was going to fight Couturier. And Nick Seeler came all the way from the blue line, all there, and grabbed the guy and threw him down, and the fight was over. There was no fight.
And the weird thing is, guys, Nick Seeler, I mean, I don't know him that well from the locker room a little bit, and we had him on one show. It's the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
But what's it like, Joe, when you have to go on the ice? Steven Stamkos went to Tampa last night, played for Nashville against Tampa, came back, and played against his old team 16 years. And he was asked afterwards about it, and he said, it's real difficult to turn the page. Your buddies before the game, you're trying to not kill anybody, but take each other's heads off during the game. Then after the game, you're friends. How hard is it to turn on and off that switch with people that you might like?
You know what? In the old days, you weren't allowed to say hi. I can remember in 1966 when I broke in with Boston. We played Montreal back-to-back. And we played Montreal Saturday night, and then we had to come back after the game, and we played Sunday in Philadelphia or in Boston. And I remember you go through the cars, the train cars, and you had and whoever won the game went in the first car. The losing team had to go in the second car. But in order to get your food, you had to go through the first car. And you had to see the opposition, and you never said hi or anything. And now there's a lot of friends on the ice. They're friends off the ice, but I think they're friends on the ice too. But it wasn't that way in the earlier years. It was very difficult because you had no friends on the ice.
Bernie, you have a problem with that, friends on the ice?
It was difficult for Joe to communicate with them because Joe didn't speak French.
From Smithers, British Columbia, that's true, because back in the old days, you really didn't have any friends on other teams. I mean, you might know people, you didn't want them dead, but you weren't sending out Christmas cards. Now it's a lot different. Did you have a problem with today's player, Bernie?
You know what? When we played, it was more a concentration of our team, the players, understanding some mistake we would make from the goalie to defensive forward, and the whole.
Wait, the goalie made mistakes?
Oh yeah,
Really?
Anybody, I'm looking at a lot of guys here tonight, anybody could have played goalie when I played for the Flyers. Guys like Joe Christ were just incredible. Yeah.
When you watch guys' games like Saturday, Sean Couturier scored 5 points, a hat trick. Hadn't scored a goal in 32 games. Bing, he's back a little bit, obviously a lot of it in that night. They won 7-5, then they lose to Montreal. Then last night they win a defensive struggle, 2-0. Urson was great. The back check and the forward check and the power play was all right. The penalty kill was great. What's it like playing in those gritty, Joe, 1-0 games? They got the empty netter right at the end. How tough is that knowing, obviously, you make a mistake and the game's tied?
Well, you know what? A forward can make a mistake up the ice, and it's not magnified. But a defenseman makes a mistake on the ice, it's more magnified because the last resort is the goalie. Where if you're a forward, you have the defense to beat. But if you're a defenseman, you have the goalie to beat. So it's much more difficult to play under those circumstances.
Well, you had a pretty good last resort here, didn't you?
What's that again?
You had a pretty good last resort.
Yeah, you're right. You needed that, and thank God we had that. But it's very difficult. The game is difficult to play. It really is. It's a very physical game, and there's a lot of things going on the ice at the time you're out there, and you can't afford to make mistakes. If you do make mistakes, then you're net, and then next thing you know, you're out of a job.
I remember I used to yell at Joe and say, let him come in once in a while. I only had like 1 or 2 shots a period, for God's sakes.
Not so many shots, it's tough. You guys were both well, before we get to the Soviet game, I want each of you, Bernie, you've been my co-host for a few years. Joe, you've been on the show a bunch of times. But I've never asked you to define. There's been TV specials about it, obviously legendary. Somebody came up to you that's 12 years old, some kid, said, hey, what's a Broad Street bully? What would you say, Bernie? And then Joe?
Well, I would take a picture and show them what Joe Watson looks like, and see if he still believes it.
Well, to find a Broad Street bully, man, you paid the price. Mm-hmm. You paid the price. When we went to Russia 5 years ago to play hockey out there, I took a bunch of guys over there, and we went to 4 different countries, or 4 different cities.
Really?
Kazakhstan, we went to Kazan, St. Petersburg, and Red Square in Moscow.
Wow.
And we were there playing, and they all wanted to go back and talk about the Broad Street Bullies, how they dismantled the Soviet Red Army team in 1976 in Philadelphia and beat them 4-1. And if Trechak hadn't have played well, we would have beat them 10-1. But
it's interesting because that game was one of the legendary games ever in the National Hockey League. The Russians, the Soviet Union, not the Russians, were making a tour, and they beat everybody else, Bernie, in the NHL. And they came to Philadelphia. And a lot of people don't realize that the goalie in that game was not named Bernie Parent, named
No.
Wayne Stevenson. What happened that game?
That game, I was in Florida.
On vacation?
Yeah, in Florida, I got hurt, and I was in Florida. But you know what? The good thing was if you recall, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but after the second period, the Russians didn't want to come out.
No.
Is that the game?
No.
What is
That's
that?
the game, but that was the 12-minute mark in the first period when Van Amp hit Karmeloff.
Broke his ankle.
Karmeloff goes down, and then they walked off the ice. They thought we were playing too aggressive.
Let me ask you, Joe. Is this when Snyder came in
Yeah.
and said if you don't come out, you don't
Not
get
gonna
paid?
your money, yeah.
Don Ohlmeyer
yeah.
of NBC once said, if the question's about sports, no matter what the question is, the answer's money. That's a pretty good example of that one, isn't it, Joe?
Uh-huh.
Russians, you're not going to get paid. All right, we'll play.
Yeah.
There was Go ahead.
I'll tell you what. I never seen a goaltender play as well as Tretiak in that game. He had 49 to 13 shots.
Wow.
We should have had 10 goals on him, and we got 4 on him. But we dominated pretty well the whole game. We really did.
All right, you got one game to play now. You're 81 years old. You still played in the alumni game 7 decades. It's amazing. They say as a lawyer, never ask a question that you don't know the answer. So I'm going to be a lawyer. Who would you want in your net? Bernard Marcel-Parent or Vladislav Tretiak?
Either one would be great.
Wow.
Either one would be great. Both of them were great goalies. Yeah.
Bern, how much did it hurt to miss that game?
Well, you know what? I was in Florida. So I was having a good time. No, but it was. You know what? I really missed it because it was publicized. It was such a great game, such a great game to play, and I was hurt and I just couldn't play it. Yeah.
Some guy in that game, I can't remember who, Flyers had a defenseman from somewhere out in the middle of nowhere in Western Canada who scored a shorthanded goal to make the score 3-0. Didn't score a lot in his career. Does that ring a bell, Joe?
Yeah, I never got beyond center ice most of the time. But what happened, we were in a shorthanded situation. The Russians had the power play, and they were making a line change, and I was watching their line change. They were taking their time, so I said, well, I might as well amble up the ice with Selesky and Kinnerchuk. And Kinnerchuk makes a pass to Selesky, and he takes a shot, and he keeps it low so the goalie can't control the puck. And then I happen to sneak in there and tuck it in between his legs. And I proved one thing, white man can't jump. I was so excited. I jumped about 3 inches. That's as hard as I could jump.
Wow.
On my skate.
Hold on, Joe. I thought it was 2 inches.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Well, that's about it.
That was the third year. Of course, that was 76. You won the Cups in 74 and 75. And, Bernie, you were hurt that year. You guys probably would have won a third Cup, huh?
Oh, God. I'll tell you. Bart, go ahead, Bernie.
Yeah. It's difficult to talk about this. Beside on the ice, the team we had, show this, Joe, the team we had when the fun that we had when we went on the road, and even at home, but on the road, you have 20, 21 players getting together, having dinner together, whatever, have a couple of drinks, and we were one big family.
Yeah.
And that's something you couldn't take away from us.
I want to ask you a question. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I want to talk about our third year in 76 when we could have won the third Stanley Cup.
Want to wait till we come back from break?
Yeah, okay. I want to talk to you about that, though.
We'll talk about 76, the Flyers' third year. They won in 74 and 75. And we'll talk about a lot with Joe Watson. Bernie Parent is our co-host tonight. We're at the beautiful Chickies and Pete's in Malvern, Pennsylvania. This is On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. You can listen on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM and watch live on YouTube at WBCB Sports. Come on down, say hi to the guys. Got a nice crowd. We're back right after this. Stay with us.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. The summer of shellfish is back with all your favorites, including our sensational seafood boil, sticky lobster tails, chilled crab tacos, seasonal herb mussels, seafood pasta, and more. Full menu at chickiesandpete's.com. Plus, don't miss our incredible buy one, get one snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. It's Summer of Shellfish, only at Chickies and Pete's.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. The Summer of Shellfish is back with all your favorites, including our sensational seafood boil, sticky lobster tails, chilled crab tacos, seasonal herb mussels, seafood pasta, and more. Full menu at chickiesandpete's.com. Plus, don't miss our incredible buy one, get one snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. It's Summer of Shellfish, only at Chickies and Pete's.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer goaltending great Bernie Parent.
Yep.
Is it? All right, we're back here at the Chickies and Pete's in Malvern. This is the Independence Blue Cross On the Ice. Bernie Parent's our guest host. Joe Watson's our guest. And it's time now for the Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless Player of the Week. This week, it's the captain, Sean Couturier, for his hat trick and 5-point game to break a 32-game goalless drought versus the Minnesota Wild in a 7-5 win. Remember to choose Independence Blue Cross today and begin to live fearless. Joe Watson, our guest. Flyers fearless after that game, getting back on the saddle. Play St. Louis tomorrow night. I don't know if they're going to win a cup anytime soon. Hopefully make the playoffs this year. But that really wasn't the goal back in the days. You won cups in 74 and 75. And we're going to talk about the third one in 76 without Mr. Parent.
Yeah. When I look back at that series, if we had a Bernie and McLeish, we would have won 7 games with Montreal. We lost every game by 1 goal. God darn it. Oh, I mean, we were up 2-0 in the first game of Montreal. And Dryden makes an incredible save off my brother. We would have been up 3-0, and the game would have been over.
And that Montreal team won 4 cups in a row, starting with that year.
Us. Yeah. And I tell you, they beat us, but it should have won 7 games. We lost every game by 1 goal, with the exception of the last goal. They got an open net, beat us 5-3 the last game. But we were up initially, and then the second game, Lafleur scored from the goddamn blue line on a wrist shot, and Stevenson missed it. Holy God Almighty. And then the third game, we're up 3-2.
I love the fact this is 48 years ago, and you're still pissed off. I love that.
Well,
it's great.
Anybody can lose, but not anybody can win. It takes a special breed to win, and we were a special breed, our team. It really was.
And Bernie, you wearing 2 of the rings that show that. Everybody always says teams play 110. We're watching the World Series tonight. They got to play 110% to come back. You play harder than the season. You say, well, we play as well as we can, as hard as we can in the regular season, and now we're supposed to find somewhere to kick it up a notch. Can you kick it up a notch? Is that a saying, or is there really a room for whatever, adrenaline or anything else in the playoffs?
Well, you have individuals on the team that will kick one more, and get up a little bit. But But you win as a team. And
Yeah.
I like the coach they have this year. He brings that team together, and it's very important. Like Joe agreed. You don't win with one. Look, the prime example when we won the first Stanley Cup against Boston, they had Bobby Orr. The best player ever played the game in my mind.
I agree with you. Yeah.
And you know what? We ended up, we won against them. We won the cup. Why? Because not one individual or goalie, a defenseman, a forward. We had a team.
Yeah.
We beat them as a team.
Why was Bobby Orr, for example? I mean, I saw Bobby Orr play. I mean, he's otherworldly, obviously, but he's better than Gretzky because of what?
Yeah, I'm going to say one thing, then I'll let Joe talk. Everything he did, he learned from Joe, for God's sake. Yeah.
The speed?
Especially off the ice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Him and I lived together, so.
So why do you played with him, obviously, in Boston. Why do you take him over Gretzky?
Well, he changed the whole complexion of the game. There was only one defenseman in the National League prior to Bobby Orr coming in who scored 20 goals.
Doug Harvey?
His name was Red Kelly from the Detroit Red Wings. He was a defenseman. And then Orr comes along, he changed the whole complexion of the game. He changed defensive part of it. He was like the galloping gourmet coming up the ice. You never knew which way he was going to go. His legs were going this way and his arms were going that way. And he was just an incredible person.
I got to share this one thing.
Yeah.
You're talking about Bobby Orr, and we have Joe here. I'll never forget when we're winning 1-0 and we win the game, we win the Stanley Cup, right? And the face-off is in Boston's end with 10 seconds to go in the game. So the referee, the linesman drops the puck. It goes back to Orr, and at the same time, I'm looking at the clock.
Yeah.
Right? And he shot the puck all the way down and missed the net by 2 feet, I think. He would have scored, I think. Remember, you went behind the net. You couldn't touch the puck.
No, I didn't want to touch the puck because there was
3-4 seconds. Yeah.
Well, there were 7 seconds to go when I got to the puck. But there was nobody from Boston near me, so I'm not going to touch it. So Wayne Cashman slides into me with 4 seconds to go. I touched the puck, and of course, at that time, the glass wasn't that high, and people were coming over the boards and everything else, and the face-off wouldn't be back to the Boston zone anyway. So they called the game, and we never really got to enjoy the cup on the ice that much because there's more people on the ice than anything.
Yeah.
You've enjoyed it for 50 years in Philadelphia, Joe, and I got to be honest with you. I love your brother Jimmy. Love all the Broad Street Bullies, but you have an energy about you. You're 81 years old. It seems like you're 23. You love hockey.
Excuse me a second.
Yeah.
Did you say 91?
23. 23. But it seems like you just have an energy. You played 7 decades. You played in the alumni game. You have this enthusiasm. How do you do that? You seem like a 30-year-old inside an older person's body.
I enjoy the game. I enjoy the game so much. It's a very competitive game. It's a tough game to play.
Do you scream at the TV when the other team scores?
Not much anymore. No. I turn the sound down. I watch the game, but I don't hear the sound.
All right.
And it's much easier in my heart, my body when I can't listen to the game.
All right, Bernie, you talk about team all the time, and team is very important. Teams win championships, but there are individual awards in sports as well. And I want to kind of contrast this. Joel Embiid of the Sixers, who has his own problems right now with his knees, obviously, 2 years ago had never won an MVP award. I always say someone like me will probably never win an MVP because I'm probably never going to play.
I agree. Yeah.
There we are. Joel Embiid, when you win an MVP, obviously you're going to be happy, your parents are going to be happy, your agent's going to be happy, but it has nothing to do with the team. But Joel Embiid campaigned to win the MVP. You won 2 Conn Smythe trophies. You never even thought about that, I'm guessing. The team won, and they said, hey, buddy, you win that, by the way. What's it like to look at it from a team concept, and how do you feel about today's athlete sometimes campaigning to win individual awards?
Well, you're so kind. When I look back, those 2 years, we won the first year against Boston, 1-0. And the second year, we won against Buffalo, the French Connection, 2-0, And I shared this earlier.
For everybody, the French Connection was a line. Robert,
yeah.
Martin,
and
Perreault.
Gilbert Perreault,
yep.
yep.
Yeah, good, great. You got great line, but you know what? It's all about a team. I keep referring to this. You have a goalie, you have defensemen, you have forward, you have coaches, and you have beautiful friends we had in in Philly, and you put all this together, and you believe in yourself, and you believe in the people you're on the ice with. You could do a lot of things. Boston, when we won against Boston, they should have won in 4 or 5 games, Joe.
Yeah.
That's
When you look at the Boston lineup compared to our lineup, we had maybe 2 or 3 so-called superstars. Right, they had a collection of 10.
Yeah.
10. But you know what, Freddie? I'll never forget. So we beat the Rangers on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
And Boston had already beaten Chicago, and they had 6 days off before they played us. And so in a way, we went Sunday afternoon. We got to go to Boston Monday afternoon. And there's a headlines in the Boston Globe. This is anticlimactic. We just beat a better team to get the finals. That we're going to play for the final of the Stanley Cup. And I said, who in the hell made that statement? I looked, it was Freddie Shero. I said, Freddie, what are you talking about? We haven't beaten them in 7 years in their building. You're right, we haven't. We're not going to show them any respect. We're going right after them. Freddie employed a system.
The Rodney Dangerfield way.
Yeah, and the system was shoot the puck in Orr's corner. The buildings are hot, they're warm, and we'll wear him out. And every time he touches the puck, go after him, hit him, get in his way.
All right, so you had this team concept, and everybody bought in. You had great players, Bobby Clark, Rick McLeish, obviously Reggie Leach, and plenty of others. I don't want to forget anybody. Did you ever have during that year with Fred Shero, Joe, or Bernie, somebody who kind of got out of line and was kind of an individual? And if you did, how did the locker room police that or anything else?
Well, go ahead, Frenchie.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I was assistant captain, and sometimes Clarkie would say, Joe, why don't you say a few words? I'd say a few words and get some people upset, but it was all constructive criticism. It was to help the person, not to hinder the person. And like Bernie mentioned, we played for the team, not as individuals, and that's why we succeeded to beat Boston. Because Boston had so many stars, but there were a lot of individualists on the team, opposed to guys that, that played together like we did. And that's why we won. And I look at it, holy mackerel, it was a war, but we beat them. And the buildings are warm. It was 90, 95 degrees out. There was no air conditioning in the buildings. In fact,
Buffalo was a fog.
Yeah, the fog.
Right, But
by the way, that's where you and I have been in the fog ever since.
I want to ask you about that, Bernie. We're going to take a break, but I want to get this first. You talk about having a couple drinks after the game. One of the things I'm proudest of you of, never mind, I don't speak English, but you get the point. You've been sober for 47 years now.
Yeah.
It's great to fraternize, have a drink, but it gave you problems, and you said that's enough, and you ended that. How proud are you of that? If Joe wants to chime in as well, but tell us about that little journey.
Well, it's not proud as much as grateful. Very grateful to be associated with the right people. And, you take one day at a time. And to remember that with one drink, I could lose the whole thing.
Yep.
I could lose 47 years, So, it's very important that I share with people. When they said, you want to have a drink, I say, no, I'm in the program and I haven't had a drink in 47 years.
How proud are you?
Then I'm proud.
No, asking Joe, how proud is he of you?
What's that again?
How proud are you of Bernie?
Oh, yeah, Bernie, because Bernie and I used to, we would sit together on the plane, and Bernie was a very nervous individual on the plane. And the plane started rocking here, there, and everything. All of a sudden, he'd grab me and he'd make imprints on my arm, for God's sake. Holy Christ. So, very proud of what he's accomplished. He really has.
All right, we got to take a quick break, guys. We've got some people waiting to get some autographs from the Broad Street Bullies. We'll come back with our Smart Stat of the Week, much, much more. It's Halloween tomorrow. The Flyers wear orange and black.
Yeah.
Anything in the past?
Hey, excuse me. You're going to just look like yourself. You'll be happy, man.
And the costumes are their uniforms. And we are at a beautiful Chickies and Pete's in Malvern, having a great time with On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Stay with us. Back in a second.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. The summer of shellfish is back with all your favorites, including our sensational seafood boil, sticky lobster tails, chilled crab tacos, seasonal herb mussels, seafood pasta, and more. Full menu at chickiesandpete's.com. Plus, don't miss our incredible buy one, get one snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. It's Summer of Shellfish only at Chickies and Pete's.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer goaltending great Bernie Parent.
All righty, everybody, back here at Chickies and Pete's with Joe Watson and Bernie Parent. It's time now for our Smart Stat of the Week, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Our buddy Danny, call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. Matvei Michkov came to the Flyers with huge expectations. He is delivering 9 points, 4 goals, 5 assists in his first 10 games. Keep it going, 39. That was your Flyers Smart Stat of the Week. Once again, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Payroll Service Solutions, catering to small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Call them once again at 1-866-PAY-EASY. Right, you guys wear orange and black, a uniform that fits in well with Halloween. Do you ever have any Halloween tricks on a game on Halloween night, Bernie?
Yeah, I'm going to look just like you.
That's a nice trick.
So,
well done.
So, I'm going to look just like him.
Good man.
Yeah.
You think of NHL, or was that just a coincidence that is what it is?
And you know what? I'll look like you, and everybody that comes into the house, I'll be like you. I'll be asking questions.
You will?
Yeah, sure.
I remember you had the Stanley Cup at your house 6 years ago. They brought it for one of the outdoor games. Did you have the superstition not to touch it before you won it? Because I know I'm never going to win it, so I touched it. Did you ever touch the cup before you won it, Joe?
I was never near the cup until we won because, we never visited it. I never saw the thing.
Wasn't like today where they bring it around all the time.
Yeah, right.
There's 2 cups, actually.
Yeah.
You, Bernie?
No, I in my dreams I did, but in reality I didn't do it. No.
All right, same question to both of you guys. Interesting. Bernie talks about this all the time. You guys, Bernie as a goalie, Joe as a defenseman. You can either have Bobby Hull coming down the left wing on you one-on-one on a one-on-one situation, or Bobby Orr. Who do you want and why? Bernie?
Well, you know what? If I want to live quite a few more years, I'd like to have Bobby Orr. But then Bobby Hull, he used to shoot 115 miles an hour.
Bobby Orr had a hell of a shot too, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Not like Bobby Hull.
No.
So to block the shot, Joe, would you be scared of Bobby Hull? Or
you know what?
Bobby
I never
Orr's
got.
speed?
He came down the left side. I was on the other side of as a defenseman. So obviously my partner had to worry about him so much. But I'm just glad I never got hit with his shot. I got hit plenty by shots, but not by his. That's for sure. Thank God.
Sure. Bobby Hull would come in on the left wing against the boards. Joe was against the boards with the right winger. I should have been there too. Yeah.
Oh boy.
How much did you play with your brother, Joe? Jimmy's 9 years
the
younger.
only time we only played is when we were killing penalties.
Why do you think that is? Did you have like a sixth sense with him?
My brother played with Ed Van Nip, and I played with Tommy Bladen or Moose DuPont.
Was it not like today, back in the day, where John Tortorella changed his defense pairing? Like Cam York's out now. Ristolainen stepped up. Travis Sanheim's been terrific. But defense pairings and lines changed with the wind today. It wasn't like that back then, was it?
No, it wasn't that way. No, it really wasn't. You know, the first set of defensemen usually play with the first line, Clark, Barber, and Leach, or Cowboy Flett, whoever it was, and the second line, you know, it was McLeish, Bladen, or McLeish, Lonsberry, and Dornhofer. And the third set of defense would play with Kinnerchuk, Schultz, and Selesky. So basically that's the way it was. Sometimes Freddie would change things around, but for the most part he would stay normal with those line changes, and he'd play the same guys together because they got to know each other on the ice and they knew what they were going to do in certain situations. So Freddie just thought that was more advantageous for us in order to win or prevent goals. So that's the way it was.
Vern, I don't know if you saw last night, McDavid got hurt. Connor McDavid got hurt right at the beginning of the game, either last night or 2 nights ago. Hit into the boards, hurt his ankle, out a couple weeks. What do you think McDavid is? Obviously, he's a great player, but compared to some of the guys you played against?
Great. Great individual, great player. And it's a shame when you see somebody getting hurt like this because he provides so much to a game. Not just his team, but to a game. You know, the people watching and the whole bit. It's very, very important. And you hate to see even the opposition. You know, you hate to see somebody getting hurt. And it just, just sad. You hope to, when you win, you hope to beat the team as healthy as it could be, and then you feel better about it, not because somebody got hurt. Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, people watch hockey games, and they see heads torn off, elbows taken to people. I mean, you kill someone with an elbow. What's it like, Joe, knowing that you're trying to hit a guy as hard as you can, clean, obviously, knowing he could get hurt, but then if he does get hurt, does that conflict you in any way?
Oh, absolutely. Right. Especially if you put the guy out of action for 2 or 3 weeks or a month or whatever, you feel responsible. You don't want to hurt the guy. He's trying to make a living like you are, and you got to, in order to get paid, you got to play. And if you can't play for 1 year because you're severely injured, it's very difficult. And so you don't want to be responsible for somebody getting hurt. And so I never played the game. I did hit, but I try to hit as clean as I possibly could. My job was to defend our zone and help Bernie out and so on and so forth. So my physicality was not as strong as some of my teammates.
You were all physical, though. Bernie, you even in net, did you use your stick as a weapon a lot or not?
I did the once in a while if guys would fall around in front of the net, then
idle cross check or
then I would
slash?
I would hit him. I'll never forget when I played for Boston. I don't think I ever shared that with you, Joe. When my first game, because Ed Johnson and Jerry Cheevers got hurt.
Yeah.
So my first game was I came up with Boston and we played against Chicago. And what's his name? Stan Mikita will come down and shoot at my head all the time. I was a rookie the first game. And I told him, I said, enough is enough. He said, kid, I'll let you know when I'm done. So he comes, seriously, so he comes down again, and he hit my mask a little bit, It was a high shot, then he's smiling and looking at me, right? I said, all right, I'll fix you. So, so 5 minutes later, he's standing in front of the net, trying to create a screenshot, right?
Yeah.
True story. I took my stick and broke his leg.
Wow.
And you never shot at my head again.
Wonder why.
Yeah.
Stories from back in the day. There's so many stories.
Yeah.
I want to have you tell your best story, Joe and Bernie. Something that comes to your head about back in the day about the Broad Street Bullies. But first, I got a question for Mr. Watson. We like to know about ourselves we're all individuals. We all have an idea of what we're doing to contribute to a team. Joe Watson played 16 years in the NHL with the Bruins and the Flyers, and part of a year with the Rockies at the end.
Yeah.
How many goals did you score, Mr. Watson? Do you have any idea?
Me? Oh, shoot. Maybe 35, 40, 45. I don't know.
35, 40. That brackets it pretty good. 38 goals.
Really? 38? Yep. Oh, okay. 38.
That's
All right.
38 in one season, right?
One season.
Yeah, okay.
You know your high in ones? I looked at this too. What was your high in one season?
By what?
The most amount of goals you scored in 1 year.
Well, I think I got 6 or 7 goals.
6?
6 goals.
Very
okay,
good.
There you go. Okay, yeah.
Most people have an idea of their stats and stuff like that. You guys realize right now the Flyers, how much do you think they're worth? Sportico-valued teams. I mean, Mr. Snyder, obviously a hockey franchise, is always valuable. He brought hockey to Philadelphia. But sports teams with TV, with cable, with the internet and everything else have jumped through the roof. What do you think the Flyers were valued at today? Take a guess.
Referring to me? Oh.
Yep.
Well, I tell you what, I think the facility is included in that. Would it be included in that, the facility they
sure.
play out of?
I don't think
and
they
the crowd they attract, the crowds they attract?
Yeah, sure.
They own the building,
Have to be.
so I guess the building.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was
Yeah, I think I'd say 2 billion, 2.5 billion or something like that, maybe.
You should be a Swami in addition to what you do for a living. What do you do? How much, Bernie?
How much?
I'll tell you, he was pretty close.
Yeah.
I was? Oh, really? Yeah.
I'll say
2.29
the
billion.
same number. Yeah.
Yep.
What was this,
2.29. Of course, they're worth what
Okay.
somebody wants to pay for. 'em.
Ask me again. 2.9. Yeah.
2.29. What do you think of the way teams, the value and the way sports have gone, the globalization, everything about them that exploded? Do you like back in the day when it was just 12 teams, now it's 32, and a little more diluted, but on TV all the time, every night, with the internet and Twitter, and you like today's game? Obviously, the rules are different on the ice. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's great. You know, a lot of people get to watch the games.
Yep.
They get used to, watching the games, and it's a good sport to watch. It's not like, a sports like, for an example, okay. It's not criticism. Just state the fact here. When you look at baseball, the pitcher will take his time and stuff like this, before he throws the ball or whatever. And in hockey, you look at hockey, and today, just like it was 40 years ago, whatever, it's speed, constant speed, And
people play with injuries.
The only thing, I'll be upfront with you, and I have to share this, the only thing I don't agree with is the goalies with the equipment they're wearing today. They can't move their feet. They're so stiff, so they have to drop to their knees all the time. So you can't challenge a shooter.
Yeah.
Or it's difficult to move from left to right. And then in front of the net, and Joe could relate to this, in the old days, it used to, don't be physical with the players. Now you can't touch anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the third one is they get to the red line and shoot it in and chase it. Shoot it in and chase it. And, in the old days, we made a lot of plays at the blue line, So, I compared the two, and, I like the old ways, the way we played, the way the game was played.
We got to take a break. When we come back, I want to hear Joe's best story and Bernie's best story. And Mr. Parent, I want to know the worst shot that ever beat you in an NHL game. Did anybody ever shoot the puck from the red line, skip a puck from the other end of the ice, whatever?
I remember one.
All right, Joel, tell us about it.
I remember 15.
I don't ever remember. I never got scored on an NHL game. These guys are great, the Broad Street Bullies. Wish we had 10 hours. Got 15 minutes left. Come back, Independence Blue Cross on the ice from Chickies and Pete's in Malvern. Come on down, say hi. Come back and stay with us.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. The summer of shellfish is back with all your favorites, including our sensational seafood boil, sticky lobster tails, chilled crab tacos, seasonal herb mussels, seafood pasta, and more. Full menu at chickiesandpete's.com. Plus, don't miss our incredible buy one, get one snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. It's summer of shellfish only at Chickies and Pete's.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer goaltending great Bernie Parent.
There.
All righty, we're back. Final segment with the great Bernie Parent, the great Joe Watson here at Chickies and Pete's in Malvern.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Watson did not know about this Chickies and Pete's. What do you think of it, Joe?
Well, I tell you, this is a outstanding place.
Yeah.
It really is nice. I wasn't familiar with this location. I lived in Delaware County since 1974, and I was not aware of this. Of course, it's only been open probably a year or two, but
When they and walked together forever, Joe Watson stayed around, and Pete
Yeah.
took advantage. Pete runs a lot of great places, and a lot of you guys are still together, and you get stories, Bernie. I mean, you have a million stories from your days. You've lived your life as Bernie Parent, making money as yourself because you're so popular and a legend in the area, a Hall of Famer. Give us the best story you have in hockey, on the ice, off the ice. I'm sure there's a million. Reach into the memory bank and give us one.
Well, I'm trying to figure out which one I could share.
Clean, please.
Say what? Yeah.
There we are.
You know what? It's not one story. You know, and I said this earlier. To me, it was a constant story that we love each other, right?
And the fans.
And the fans, and you know what? It showed when we won the Stanley Cup, Joe. You know the parades that we had on Broad Street. It was incredible.
I remember they predicted we'd have 70,000 people out for our first parade. Christ, there was 2 million people. More the biggest parade.
Exactly 2 million?
Well, around 2 million. The biggest crowd Philadelphia ever had.
What was that like for a kid from Smithers, British Columbia?
Well, it was a shock because my dad was down here. My dad said it'll look like Christmas. Everybody was smiling and everything else. And of course, the second parade, streaking was in. So that was the best part of the second parade when you saw all these things dangling this way, that way. They're climbing the poles and they had no clothes on. It was a beautiful sight to behold.
How proud were you and your brother of each other, being both on a couple of Stanley Cup teams, 9 years apart? There's kids in between, but what was it like having, we just saw, obviously, baseball, LeBron James and his son played in the same game, the Griffies, the Howes, obviously. What was it like playing with your brother?
Well, obviously, you never expect. First of all, you never expect to make the National Hockey League. When you do make the National Hockey League, everything is gravy. And of course, Jimmy was drafted by the Flyers in 1972. So I was playing at the time with the Flyers, and I said, I'm going to represent you instead of hiring an agent to handle your contract. So I got him a $35,000 contract.
Nice.
And at that time, I was only making 32. So I got him more money than I had. And of course, my contract was up that year, so I went a little above him at that time. But initially, he was making more than I was.
Wow.
And Joe split the two with his brother. Yeah.
to his brother.
I want to tell you a story, though.
Sure.
Ricky McLeish.
Yes. May he
Most
rest in
skilled
peace.
players. There's four of the most skilled players the Flyers ever had. There's Giroux, Forsberg, Lindros, and Ricky McLeish. And we were in L.A. in 1976, and he got cut with a skate. Got a cut with a skate right here, 200 stitches.
Wow. 200?
200 stitches right there. 200
jugular?
stitches. Yeah.
Wow.
Right in the side here.
Wow.
So anyway, they stitched him up, and so we went to a bar after the game, and we're sitting there, and he's smoking. The smoke's coming out the side.
Wait, he got 200 stitches and he went to the bar after the game?
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe back to the hotel and rest?
Hockey players are tough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hockey players are tough.
That's ridiculous.
We talk about other sports. Our sport's as tough as they come.
And he had smoke coming out. They always
Smoke
say it's
coming
hot.
outside.
Does it
Yeah.
drive you guys crazy? I mean, baseball, we got, obviously you can't pitch with a bad rotator cuff, but when a guy tweaks something in a game, and Joel Embiid, I hate to keep bringing him up, when guys have injuries that you think maybe I could have played with and they're not, does it drive you nuts?
You know what, when going back quickly, what you said about Ricky with the smoke coming out, it was great because we're sitting outside drinking, right? And you knew where the wind was blowing. Yeah.
But does it drive you? Joe, do you go, when you see a guy tweak something and then kind of limp out, hockey players see him go to the bench, crawling on floors, maybe go back to the locker room for a minute and then they're back. Other sports you might miss a month. Does that drive you crazy?
Oh, well, look, I lost 8 teeth. I lost 8 teeth, my 4 top and the 4 bottoms. When I lost my 4 top, I was in Boston. And I get hit by Eddie Shack. I turned around to hit him, and he got me right in the mouth and knocked my 4 top ones out. So I go in the medical room. In those days, you had 5 defensemen, 10 forwards, and 1 goalie. So that means you had to play. So I go in the medical room, and they're going like this. And anyway, they said, "You feel that?" I said, "No." Good. So they start pulling my roots out.
Oh.
They pulled the first 2 roots out.
This is during the
And
game.
this is the 3rd and the 4th. I said, "Doc, I'm starting to feel it." He says, "Can you last another minute?" I said, "Oh, God." And so anyway, he pulled them out, and I got 35 stitches in my mouth and went out and played. You had to play.
That's amazing. It's unbelievable.
Now, you had to play. I mean, other sports, it wouldn't happen that way.
All right, Bern, I hate to put you on the spot like this. You're in the Hall of Fame, 2 Stanley Cup rings. You lived your life as a legend in the Philadelphia area, but we all make mistakes. What's the worst shot that ever beat you in an NHL game?
In the warm-up, Joe shot.
Warm up.
Yeah.
And the backhand.
Backhand, yeah.
The backhand. Yeah.
Did you ever give up a goal where you said,
Well,
bleep, I
the
can't
worst
believe
shot,
I remember one. Barry Gibbs.
Gibbs. Oh,
Gibbs.
God.
Barry
Center
Gibbs
ice.
was one of the Bee Gees.
Center ice.
Yeah.
Barry Gibbs?
Yeah, Barry
He
Gibbs.
got
His name
scored
was
on by a
Barry
Bee
Gibbs.
Gee?
His name was Barry Gibbs, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what happened? Shot from center ice?
Well, Bernie really wasn't following it, and the puck went way up in the air and ended up in the net, and we got knocked out of the playoffs. We got beat 1-0.
Wow.
And we had to win that game, and we didn't win that game, and we never made the playoffs.
But you know the best part about the whole thing is Joe was on the ice at that time.
I was, yes, I was. What the hell was that?
All right, guys, turn into this year's team for a quick second. Jonesy and Danny, Torts, obviously, hopefully they're coming out of this skid. Bobby Brink signed a new 2-year deal. Tyson Forster on the sheet. Owen Tippett, hopefully will get going. Michkov, Luchenko's packing juniors, which is the right place for him. Give me a player, Joe, that's caught your eye this year. Cam York, defenseman who's hurt. Anybody, Drysdale, anybody?
Michkov.
He
For
does
a
catch your
19-year-old
eye.
kid, he's got a lot of pressure on him. There's a lot of people who challenge him on the ice. The other night in Boston, guy challenged him.
Yep.
He went after him.
Yep.
And then there's a guy in Minnesota that challenged him in the Sunday afternoon game, and he went after him too. And Mishkov's a young guy. He's a small guy, not that big, but he doesn't take any abuse out in the ice.
Bernie, you got to be proud of that. A guy who's obviously got all kinds of talent, but has all kinds of grit too.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's something that you grew up, and handle situations like this, and you gain respect from the players too. You gain
Your teammates. You're right.
Your teammates and the crowd and everybody. It's very, very important.
Yep.
And they roll along. Joe, are the Flyers going to make the playoffs this year?
Well, if they get more points than 4 other teams, they will. Yes. I think they
Not
have
a
a
great
legitimate
start.
chance. I think they have a legitimate chance. I think they got their goaltending's got to get situated straight away, and
Urson
I
was
think
great
the young
last
Russian.
night.
I think the young Russian's better than the big one.
Well, Fedotov basically sent down. Alexei Kolosov came up. The Flyers have another kid, 19 years old in Russia. With Carter Hart last year, they had no goalies. Now they have 19. Obviously, Urson's the number one, and apparently the 19-year-old is terrific. But you gotta show it. But a lot of youth, a lot of teams, a lot of guys getting better.
The Flyers are the second youngest team in the league.
Yep. Who's the youngest?
I don't know. I think it might be maybe it might be would be a
Blackhawks?
No. It could be Anaheim, or San Jose.
Okay.
San Jose. Yeah.
Vern, you like what you've seen so far? You like what you've seen from these boys?
Yeah.
And Tortorella?
I like the coach. And the only thing, I'm thinking about the goalies, and we played that way, with Joe when during the games, figure out, have you good communication to your defenseman, number one. It's very important. Understand what your defenseman is going to do if it's a right-hand shot or left-hand shot, because the equipment they're wearing today, they can't move so well. They have a problem. So once you understand what your defenseman will do on the left-hand shot or right-hand shot, it helps you to anticipate and put you in the right position to make the save.
Yep.
It's very, very important.
One more question for Joe Watson. Obviously, defense. John Tortorella believes in building a team from the goal out. Jamie Drysdale, young defenseman, finding his way from the trade last year. Cam York hurt. Travis Sanheim is a veteran now. He's 28 years old, I think. He's started to play very, very well. What have you seen in Travis Sanheim, Joe, and have you noticed any other defensemen who are nucleus components?
Well, he's elevated his game another level. Sanheim has. He's carrying the team. The other night there when we played Montreal and we got beat 4-3, he was the best player on the ice. Best player on the ice for both teams. And he's elevated his game tremendously, and he's full of confidence now, which is really nice to see.
Sean Couturier, Scotty Lawton, Flyers got a bunch of kids fun to watch. This is fun to watch. I love doing this with you guys with the Broad Street Bullies. It takes me back to when I was a child in the little town of Bethesda, Maryland. I was going to make some up about some frozen pond in Canada. But Joe, thank you so much for being with us. We love to have you every year. Love to have you next year. 81 years young. Stay strong, man.
I appreciate coming on here. It's really nice to convince.
81, I thought Joe was 91.
91?
No.
I will be in 10 years.
There we are. Mr. Perrant, not far behind that.
I know.
Enjoy Florida. You're going there for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon. Enjoy. Thanks so much.
Definitely. Thank you. Yeah,
all righty.
Good man.
Got a lot of people to thank. We got all kinds of people here. Wonderful crowd at Chickies and Pete's in Malvern. They come every week. Thank you so much. Great atmosphere here.
Hey, excuse me a second.
Yes, sir.
To do the show with Joe Watson doesn't get any better.
It does not get any better than this. I agree with that 100%. Brianna O'Neill produced this fine program. Stephen Lawler back at the station. Thank you for Bernie Parent and Joe Watson. I'm Paul Jolovitz. It's the Independence Blue Cross on the ice from Chickies and Pete's in Malvern. Join us with Kerry Fraser at Glassboro next week. Have a great week and go Flyers, everyone.
All right. Good.